Hey guys, it's Shira from Woodshop Diaries, and today I'm going to show you how I built these super simple cedar planters for my mums for the fall season, but they're great for all year round, and you may have also caught a glimpse of them in my last video about covering up eyesores in the yard with a simple faux fence. So anyway, if you guys are ready to get building some super simple planters, let's go. What are you doing? Come on. If you saw my last video, you may have caught a glimpse at these simple cedar planters when I was sharing about how I covered up my ugly well house in the middle of the yard. These planters looked so good against that cedar fence, but they also look really great on my front porch, so now I kind of feel like I might need to build 2 more of them. They're simple enough though, so maybe I can get around to that before the season ends, but in the meantime, let me show you how these first 2 came together. I've got the plans linked below if you're interested in the tools, materials, and the exact dimensions used here. So if you're ready to get building, let's get started. I built these 2 matching planters using 5 cedar 1x4s and 2 cedar 2x4s. Now in my area, I couldn't find cedar 1x2s and 2x2s. So I had to rip the 2x4s into 2x2s and one of the 1x4s into 1x2s. But if you don't have a table saw, you can purchase 2x2s and 1x2s in another wood species instead. The first thing I did was cut 16 1x4 slats for the side panels of the planter. There will be 4 on each side. Then I cut 4 pieces of 1x4 to rip into 1x2s on the table saw. These will just frame out the slats on each side. Once I had 4 sets of 4 slats and 2 1x2s, I began assembling. I had already assembled one side here that you can see, but I had 3 more to go. To assemble these, I simply lined up the corners of the top 1x4 with the edges of the 1x2 piece and attached using 2-inch wood screws. I only used 1 screw here per slat because I was running low on screws. 2 would obviously be stronger, and you could also use wood glue here as well. But I don't plan on throwing these around the yard, so 1 screw will hold it good enough for me. Once the top 1x4 slat was in place, I just worked my way down, installing the next slat right below the one above it, keeping them angled about the same. I didn't allow for any overlap here, the next slat just barely touches the one above it. Once all 4 slats were attached to the 1x2, I flipped it over and repeated, adding the other 1x2 on the other side. Then, once I had 4 of these panels together, I moved on to the next step. The rest of the pieces of this planter were made from 2x2s, so I trimmed my 2x4s down to the lengths that I needed on the miter saw and then just ripped them down on the table saw to make my 2x2s. I screwed 2 2x2s into the top and bottom of each of the 4 slat panels using 2.5-inch wood screws until I had all 4 completed panels. And all that's left at this point is just attaching everything to the legs. So I screwed 2 2x2 legs into one of the panels at the top and the bottom 2x2s. Now clearly there are a million other ways to assemble these. I chose simple butt joints and screws because there are just outdoor planters and I wasn't wanting to get fancy here. But if you didn't want to see the screw heads, you can definitely use pocket holes or dowels or whatever method that you prefer. Or you could just simply putty over the screw heads too. Once the legs were attached to this one side, I worked my way around adding panels and legs as I went. The main thing here is to make sure that you assemble the slats with the slant the right way. You want them slanted towards the outside and not the inside of the planter box. After all 4 sides were assembled, the final step was to add some slats to the inside just to hold up whatever plant or pot that you put inside. I cut some scrap 1x4s for this and placed them inside the planter just across 2 of the slats. These are fairly small, so I really just needed 1 slat, but you could add a couple if you wanted. And depending on how deep your pot or your plant is, you can put these on any of the slants that you want. So I just put mine on the second one down, but you could also put it on the third one down if you had a deeper pot. I did give them a couple coats of exterior grade poly just to deepen the cedar color and give them a little more protection from the sun. Then I put them over by the well house, and then I moved them to the front porch. And now I'm super indecisive about where I should keep them permanently or if I should just make a whole nother pair. Time will tell. So if you're looking to build a set of planters for your own front porch or around your well house or wherever, head over to the blog post linked below for the complete plans to build your own. And if you've enjoyed this video and can't wait for the next one, I'd love if you'd subscribe so you don't miss out on what's coming next. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy building!